Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that counts." Now, successes and failures are going to happen. They're inevitable. It's just part of life. We have to be careful, though, not to let those successes and failures define who we are, but rather how we respond and how we move forward from them. Now, it's tempting to stay in that place of either, really. Successes, it's a feel-good feeling. You're on top of the mountain. You just, it's an amazing feeling, and you want to embrace that for as long as possible. Failures, too, can be paralyzing. And so it's very difficult sometimes to move forward from either one. It's a frightening experience. So that's where courage comes in. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's moving forward in spite of it. So I have a story. Last fall, Matt and I decided to go on a kayaking adventure. Now, neither one of us had ever been in a kayak before. Yeah. Recipe for disaster, but it was a lot of fun. I grew up on boats, whitewater rafting, canoeing, sailing, motorboats. So I did develop a healthy respect and a little bit of fear for the power of water. But we thought we'd go. We went down to Red River Gorge in Kentucky. It was about 40-45 degrees. It was in the fall. A little cool, but a beautiful day. So we're going along the river. I kept Matt in front of me so I could kind of keep an eye on him and see what was going on. And there came a bend in the river. And you never can really tell what's on the other side. You can hear the current change a little bit, but you don't know. And of course, I'm messing with my camera, putting it in the waterproof bags just in case. So he goes around the corner. By the time I got around the corner behind him, all I saw was him clinging to a tree with his, over the tree, screaming about how cold the water is. And of course, I'm Mom, right? So I'm like, "Hold on, Matt, I'll rescue you." Not knowing what I was going to do when I got there. So I get up to him and I said, "Just don't let me knock you in the water." Because that's one of my fears is it's not what's on the water, it's what's underneath. I just hold on. So I come up next to him. What does he do? He grabs my boat. Next thing I know, I'm holding on to the tree with one hand, but I didn't let go of the boat. I had the boat with the other hand. So I'm on the tree, he's on the tree, we're standing on another branch, so we're about almost chest deep, and yeah, it was a little chilly. So we're on the branch, we see the bank of the river, it's about 10 or 15 feet away, we can't stay on the branch. And of course, it's one of those days, it was the end of the season, there's nobody on the river, okay? So, we can't stay here. So we find the bottom, it was about chest deep or so, and thank goodness we had our life jackets on. So we went across to the bank. It's like, okay, great. I think he must have grabbed his boat, or I had both boats, I don't know, both boats ended up on the bank with us. But where are the paddles? Because you really can't go up the creek without a paddle. So I'm looking around and I see the paddle kind of floating nicely down the river. So I'm running along the bank, I jump in, catch up to the paddle, I turn around and get hit with this wall of current. Because you don't really know how strong it is. So I'm driven over trees and rocks and going against the current. I'm using the paddle to get back to the bank. I get back to the bank, I'm all out of breath. And here's Matt stripping down to his boxers. Like, what the heck are you doing? He says, well, he didn't want to get hypothermia. I think it was a little too much man versus wild, but I didn't say anything at that point. So I was like, what do we do now? So he says, well, the road's right up there, so we'll just go up the road, hitch a ride, and get back to our car. And I'm like, that feels an awful lot like quitting. And then I also, on the other side of it, I thought, you're in boxers. What kind of a ride are we going to get? So I was like, maybe that's not such a good idea. So we looked around, and we decided to take inventory. Okay, so we had 2 boats, 1 paddle, and a half-naked boy. What do we do? Okay, so we could either tie the boats together, maybe, and I thought, well, that's probably not a good idea because somebody's going to be out of control and it's not going to be me. So, or one person could go down the river, see if we could find the paddle, or get the truck and come back. But I learned growing up that you never, ever, ever leave your buddy. safety first. So that wasn't an option either. So I was looking at, there's a good possibility that we have to go get a ride. Still not wanting to do that, I'm looking around, still catching my breath, and I see, out in the middle of the river, the other paddle stuck in the branches. But this time I had to think about it, and the water was cold. But I went out there, we wanted to go down the river, so I went out there, we got the paddle, got all our stuff together, continued on our journey. I was worried that he would never want to do this again, because he was pretty upset about the cold water. And now he's in boxers. But he turned around and he said, Mom, the next time we do this, it has to be in the summertime. I was like, fantastic, it'll be in the summertime. And I also considered, as we were going down the rest of our river, that this journey on the Red River is a lot like life itself. And the river is life. It's going to move forward whether you choose to engage in life or not. It's how you choose to go down. There are times in the river where it's peaceful, it's nice, everything is going good, and you can float along, be at peace with the world, and just have a good time. And then there are some rapids. Sometimes you have to go upstream. You have to struggle against discouragement, disappointment, and even people that might not want the same for you that you do. And then the bends in the river. The bends in the river can be times of success, times of failure, times of change. They're not always predictable. And then along the way you have banks where you can rest and relax, reflect on what's happened in the past, learn from it, internalize, and decide your best route for the future to get you where you want to be. It's also a time to kind of take inventory of your equipment, because you need equipment for the journey. And my equipment for life, my faith, is a lot like the equipment we had on the river. Because, like the boat, it protects me from what I can't see. Like the paddle, it gives me purpose and direction. And like the life jacket, it allows me to take risks and jump in with both feet, not worried about things. Okay? So like Winston Churchill said, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it's the courage to continue that counts. So also did Ezra say in the Old Testament as a prophet, be of good courage and do it. So now, as we come to the end of the semester, and we all show off for the rest of our lives ahead of us, the most important thing to remember is to enjoy the journey. Thank you.